Just talking very passionately. The EPA came to your home in 2010.
Yes, they did. They came there and they partially remediated. Uh, certain areas they didn't address, and they just gave me, they remediated on the basis of just of the lead. My lead levels were kind of high. They said nothing about the arsenic. 2015, after arsenic became an issue, they gave me an upgrade, showing that I had arsenic on the property also. And areas that they didn't address in 2010, they're going to address sometime this year, and they're showing levels of arsenic and lead also.
What does it say to you that in this country there's a large media obsession with everything that Donald Trump tweets, Russia, a lot of things, but in terms of lead contamination, African Americans, Latinos, basically being left for decades in a toxic wasteland. You don't really hear much about it out there.
As far as Donald Trump concerned, he's a businessman, and he's trying to make this country a corporation. And like he's talking about dismantling aspects of the EPA, which means that he's going to introduce more levels of industrial production, like the XL Access pipeline and the Dakota pipeline, like he's doing that, and you see that here in this area with the industrial, being an industrial complex, and what's going on now as far as the way in which they're treating us, trying to brush it up under the rug, not being transparent, lack of disclosure, I mean, you see it here, but you're talking about a higher level when you're talking about the White House,
And what do you think that, there's some local media here, but by and large, the national media hasn't covered this that much. You guys have been left for months to deal with this on your own. There's been local TV, but you don't see CNN down here. You don't see anybody. It's pretty much obsessing over Trump and those other things, while you guys are being, nobody's paying your bills for medical costs from contamination. They're trying to forcefully evict people.
Well, I think they got desensitized, by the Flint crisis. I mean, I guess that created an uproar, and exposure. And now, what we're going through and everything that's going through now, that pertains to this, I mean, I guess it's not really big coverage, big news. But they should come out here because you're going to see that this situation is going to permeate throughout the whole country, especially if the fact that back in the day when they were putting in the pipes, they were lead. And so, you're going to, you're testing waters in Chicago all over, you're finding lead in the water.
And, it might sound a little crazy, but someday Mike Pence could be president, right? I mean, Trump, who knows? The fact is, there's been very little discussion that in February of last year, there was an issue in Greentown, Indiana, predominantly white. They had lead in the water. Mike Pence went down there. 2 months later, it was fixed. Mike Pence never came down here.
Came here, And like I'm saying, when we reached out as far as that emergency declaration, he was making that transition to D.C., so he went up there and he pushed it back on Holcomb, And for him to be president, the way he treated us, Jordan, that's an atrocity right there. That is, because if his M.O. is the way he did us, you can imagine how it would be throughout the country at a bigger scale.
And could you talk about, you're 65, you've had health problems because of all this contamination.
Right. Well, even young, like I was experiencing headaches, I crack open a textbook, and the harder I try to focus, the bigger the headache got to develop into a migraine. I had that. I went to school. I had it, and I believe that's the reason why I had to leave school, because of the migraines, and stuff. Then I find out that that's one of the byproducts of lead exposure. And right now, like I asked them back in 2010, I asked them, is there any chance that groundwater would bring contamination into our homes, because we have a high water table. And so if we get like heavy rains or a heavy snow melt, you're going to get seepage in your basements. It's bad when you're paying a mortgage, but you're afraid to live in your house. And me personally, when I moved in mine, like back in 1990, I was experiencing accumulation of phlegm, just a small amount. But as the years progress, it's gotten bad. I mean, like if I get any kind of seepage in the basement, I get a sinus infection, and I'm hacking up consistently for 30 days or more. And so, like I'm saying, I've been telling these people what they need to do. They need to test that groundwater because we got heavy contaminants, benzenes and stuff, and polychlorines in the groundwater. We got stuff coming from DuPont. They dealt with heavy chemicals. We got an oil refinery within the vicinity. We had the lead plant down the street, So all that stuff is getting in that groundwater, and plus that, they put slag and iron ore down there to fortify it and make a base because it was all built on wetlands. And so there's a bunch of stuff in that water. And